Hi, I am Daniela and I will be presenting the case study, How Listening to Customers Has Shaped Modify Watches. First, an overview of the content in this case analysis. First, I will present the summary of the case, followed by identification of the problem and strategic options for solving this problem, then the analysis and case questions, finally, and followed by preferred strategic options and advantages and disadvantages of this option, and finally, summary and lessons learned. First, the case summary. Modify Watches was founded by Aaron Schwartz and Gary Cover in 2010, soon after they got their MBAs. And the idea of the company was made under the Lean Startup method. So this idea consisted in selling affordable watches that have interchangeable faces and bands. Their hypothesis was that people would actually buy these products, and to try it, the hypothesis was developing a website offering a minimal viable product, which is an MVP. They bought very cheap watches and they make the interface of the website, including a buy now button. And after a while in the market, this set was validated. This is a company that is customer focused, and their motto is, we're not craftsmen, we're just good listeners. The key of success of this company is that the business model changed over time. They started being a B2C company. They sell to the final consumer, but then they got the opportunity to start doing customized watches for brands, and they follow this idea, and now they offer two kinds of products. Then they do the right improvements constantly. They are asking their consumers what they want. They had the idea that maybe making a water resistant watch was a good idea. They ask the consumers and they don't really wanted this new feature. So they listen and they don't do the improvements, or they do the improvements as the customers will want. Following, we have adding brand names and license. For example, they work with a Major League of Baseball and they do customized watches for sports enthusiasts. And finally, they involve the consumer in the decisions of design. They make fan votes. If they want to introduce a new product, they make polls. So the consumer is very involved in the decisions of the company. Now, the identification problem. The company was a new entrepreneurship, and the founder did have no previous experience in the watches market, had no economic capacity for a big investment, and the main idea after all this is that he needed to assure the sustainability of the business in a long term. So the strategic options that someone with the same characteristics starting a new business are minimum viable product, that's the MVP, the one that they followed, that is to introduce in the market this minimum viable product with the minimum functionalities. So you can test the demand, get feedback, and you can adapt and change the product as the consumers want. Another option is a market research that has many methodical process and steps. First of all, there will be observation. You can see the consumers in their own environment. For example, if we are talking about a cafeteria, you can sit and start watching the consumer behavior inside in the moment of, or in the place of consumption and purchasing. Then interviews with experts will also help to have a better understanding of the situation. Interviewing around 20 or until the same answers are being repeated and there's no more new information. It can be, it's another step. Then making focus groups with this starting observations and this new information and research that we made. We can make focus groups so the consumers can make deeper insights in the ideas. And with these three aspects mentioned before, that we can triangulate and we can make surveys that will give us quantitative data to extrapolate and have a numeric result. And finally, the feasibility analysis, that it's has 4 main components and elements to analyze if the new venture it will be success and sustainable over time. So the first of all is the product and service, that is testing if the product service will match the market. Then the industry or market, if it is attractive, is there a difficulty, the competition, and overall. Then organization feasibility is about the team and the inside capacity of the company, if they can or the founder or the founding team, if they can take this new venture. And finally, the financial feasibility, if they can take this investment on their own. So now passing to the analysis of case questions, we have first question is that what evidence can you provide from the case to support the view that Schwartz is very interested in understanding customers' reactions to modified products? Well, first, in the beginning, as we say, before they have, or he had an opportunity identification where he has this idea, this hypothesis about people would buy this interchangeable parts watch. So he created this website to prove his hypothesis and observe the consumer behavior. And after, when the company was on the run, he makes surveys, polls, calls to customers, voting for new ideas, consumer competition and suggestions as to co-branding products, and also interactive focus groups on napkinlabs.com. The second question is, what target market is Modified Watch seeking to serve, and how attractive is the market? First, watch enthusiasts. This is a very niche segment because nowadays not everyone wears a watch, and sometimes using a watch it's more an elegant status situation more than in an everyday trend as it was before. So watch enthusiasts will be number one consumers in the B2C working. Well, then individuals who are customized items or a personal touch. So many people like them to have, I don't know, their backpack with their names, or they have many things they like to have on their own. So that's another target. Then individuals who purchase gifts to the family and friends. Also market segments that are individuals that are part of a certain fandom, for example, this that we talked about, the Major League of Baseball, and individuals who enjoy being part of the community, that would be the Modified family. And also brands that we mentioned also that they changed it to be a B2B. Well, they implemented B2B, they didn't change it, they continue with B2C. Brands and companies, and also events that want the personalized merchandising as Google, Facebook, and the Pac-12 conference, for example. So what evidence is number three, then question number three, what evidence can you provide from the case to support the view that Schwartz is very interested in understanding customers' reactions to modified products? So first, surveys to fans quarterly and customer calls every week. That's how they keep in touch very close to the fans, to the Modi family. And ethos of providing exemplary customer service, he was very interested in know what they want, He was always seeking for feedback. And also when he started, he packed the modified watches, including his business card and a specific team's number and email, so they can directly call and give him feedback. So he was very into getting involved with the consumers, making them co-creation of this brand. And the last question is, if you were asked to complete an organizational analysis of Modify, what conclusions would you reach regarding the firm's management prowess and resource efficiency at the time the firm launched and immediately thereafter? So first, about management prowess, it's the attributes and the personal characteristics that this founder has. And I can say that even though he was unexperienced, he has a very much passion and conviction about his work or about his entrepreneurship. Then he had a very good academic network. He studied in Berkeley. He could be he can be very close to the community, having probably mentors in this business community, and so on. After he was committed full-time to the business, he quit his job. He dedicated 100% to his entrepreneurship. And finally, he found the right team and delegated the main roles. He found a person that would be dedicated to the technology, and he was around these capable people to do the things he wasn't expert in. And resource efficiency, we can say that he had creativity, he was problem solving skills, he was resilient and always fighting for his passion and his idea. He was consumer focused, but it was very important from the beginning. He established this for the company that keeps going, like 10 years after, it continues being the same. And finally, he's extrovert with the networking capacities. In the case, it's mentioned that during a flight, he was talking to a businessman that make a purchase of 2,500 watches, and this cannot be made if he has not this inner personality of extroversion that makes him talk to people and present his idea with confidence. So the preferred strategic options and commenting the advantages and disadvantages of this, is that it was a good idea. I really believe that his point of view and his business model, it's very it was in the right way, making an MVP. One good thing about it is that it can test the demand. It has no big investments. However, as a disadvantages, we can say that it has exposure to the competition without being the best product at the moment, because it's just a minimal viable product. It's not sophisticated enough, probably, and it cannot have the real pricing because you're not considering all the costs that it's involved. Probably in a more sophisticated product, it will be more intense in technology, in other aspects, maybe more features and more other materials that will make the real price. And well, now after they integrated elements from the market research as focus groups, interviews, and polls in their social media and in the customer service, in the everyday strategic. So they grew like that, and for me that's a very good option also. Like that really makes sense of keeping the customer-centered idea that they have, that this company was founded for. So the advantages are they have richer insights, They have interaction with consumers, so they were building a community around the brand that is very, very good. That's why I liked this way of doing it. However, it's a big investment. You need a lot of people working in customer service to get these insights, and also it's time consuming to get all different feedbacks and putting them together. But overall, I really believe that this is a great way to start in a business when you have no experience in the market, you have low economic capacity. A lot of entrepreneurs probably be in the same way, even though having even less because probably many entrepreneurs haven't even go to get an MBA. And I think this is the right way, focusing on the consumer, starting with the MVP, and then involving the customer in the regular decisions to make the good decisions and pivot when it's necessary and change and adapt to this to their demands. So finally, the summary and lessons learned. Modify Watches is a company that started as a lean startup and grew with a philosophy of quick adapting to the consumer needs and preferences. As the tools used, they begin with an MVP that is part of the lean startup model, and now they include elements of market research. And the key of their success is to listen to their clients. And going to the lessons learned, well, given the lack of resources, creativity, initiative, and ingenuity are very key. There are many characteristics of the entrepreneur to get over these obstacles, and I think this also helps to the success of the business. Of course, there is the importance of the characteristics of the entrepreneur. That's what I just mentioned. Then the MVP is the best option for starting when has no much experience in the new market and has not much capital of investment. Then when the company is up and running, the market results will give more clarity and more insights about the consumer behavior. And being a customer centered is a key for any company. The motto of a company shouldn't be getting money. Of course, it is for many of them, but only when they're consumer centered, they change, not be just not just another company. They just start being a building identity brand. So that's what every company should aim. And finally, we should always consider all the costs including the product, so the pricing is accurate as possible. One of my main concerns for this kind of company, of course, starting with an MVP, is that probably you're not costing correctly, and having a accounting background for me is very important to make the pricing correctly. Because otherwise, when the product is finally in the market with the whole not an MVP, but the whole full product, then the price can go higher than expected, and then the results would be no as good as tested. So that's another thing that we should always consider. So thank you so much, and that's all for now.